Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Green Door Life. My name is Shannon Morse, and we are bringing you another segment here today about providing really valuable tools for whether it is your mental health, your physical health, your relationship health, or whatever it is that's going on in your life. We're really trying to cultivate the people in our network who have a very unique and special voice to come and share with our community the gifts that they have. So I have with me my friend Harry, who is a personal transformational coach and leadership, or he specializes in that area. And I brought Harry on today to really kind of go into the topic of authenticity, especially, which I think is really interesting right now as we're in this world where we are at home. Today is March 27th. We're like in the thick of the COVID virus. The coronavirus. And right now, all of us are like just looking at screens all the time. And the authenticity that we actually have to identify within ourselves and then move in and share with other people is kind of at an all-time high. So this is like a super interesting topic, and I'm so excited to talk to you about it, Harry. So here's Harry, and let's hear a little bit about who you are and what you do in the world right now.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Shannon. I'm so happy to be part of your community. Thank you, the Green Door Life community, for being here. If you're here, I just want to acknowledge you for your willingness and your openness to just seeking support, seeking expansion and transformation, and just so honored. My name is Harry Lopez. As Shannon has said, I am a personal and professional transformation coach. I work with people of all backgrounds in seeking to transform. So artists, entrepreneurs, leaders of companies, and I've also started a community of my own called the Launch Latinx Community for Latino leaders who want to expand their possibilities in what they're doing in their personal and professional lives. And I'm excited about today's topic of authenticity, and there's so much here I could share. So should I just go into it?
Sure. I mean, like, yeah, whatever's coming to you, that's the whole topic.
Yeah. All right, let's do it. I love it. So, I think, just being really real. And lately I've been asking myself a series of questions every single day. And one of the questions is, if one word could describe the kind of person that I want to be today, what would that word be and why? And 3 months ago, this looked very different. But lately what the word has been, I just want to be real. I just want to take off the mask. I just want to stop trying to be something that I'm not, and stop trying to put up an image that I'm not, because it's exhausting. And my story of authenticity has really come from a place of truthfully hitting rock bottom. Hitting rock bottom in my personal life. And of course, whatever's coming up personally for you will come up professionally. And so, I left my home of Miami and I moved to Los Angeles 8 months ago now. And I broke up with my ex. I left my apartment. I left my home. I left my car. I left everything. I put everything in a suitcase and I just moved out here to LA. And I was getting, while being here in LA, I was building my coaching business, continuing to build it, and was also stepping into my art, performance and self-expression and the arts and et cetera. And one thing that was coming up is I just kept getting sick. I was getting really sick while being here in LA, and actually to a point where I couldn't speak. Like, I was losing my voice. I was getting ill, and life didn't feel good. And I almost felt like I was living, like I was like a phony, like a fake in a way, because I was, in my day-to-day life, was empowering people to live their best lives and to be authentic. I was actually talking the talk of being authentic while I wasn't being fully authentic. And it wasn't until I met with my now coaches and I had a meeting with them, and they looked at they saw who I was being in my day-to-day life offline, and they're experiencing who I was, and then seeing my online presence and experiencing just a complete misalignment, completely different people, online, offline. Harry offline was laughing and having fun and showing so much personality and joy and light. And then online, I was putting myself and positioning myself as this like perfect, life coach who had it all together, who had all the wisdom in the world, who was just very spiritually centered and aligned all the time. And that's just not who I am. And that's maybe part of who I am, but it's not the full picture. And so I had to do a lot of you know, presenting the mirror to myself, and asking myself some really important questions, and being humbling myself in a way where I was really uncomfortable. I was incredibly uncomfortable in the last couple of months of seeing where I was and where I wanted to be, and feedback that I was receiving. And I continued on that approach after that awareness of what was going on. And it's different knowing about vulnerability and authenticity. It's knowing about it, but it's different to actually execute and live it and breathe it and walk it. And so for me, it was about liberation and freedom. So much about being authentic online was about me being courageous enough to to show the real side of me, what's actually happening behind the curtain. Maybe the things I never want people to know, the shadows of my life that I've held and kept to myself. And so I always had this idea that I could share a little bit, but I can't share too much, and was always really afraid of the judgment, or the judgment that I would receive from my audience if I was to go there. And so just a little bit of context, how I know Shannon is through one of our coaching programs, and one of a really, really masterful coach that was working with us around authenticity and really bringing our authentic selves into the world, and especially online. And one of the things she said was, the very thing you're avoiding sharing is the very thing hurting your business. The very thing that you're not sharing with your audience. And if you're a digital entrepreneur or content creator, if you are in the online space and an influencer, if you're an expert online, I think I hope this resonates with you and really speaks to you, because it really shifted everything about how I was operating in my life. And at that point, y'all, I was at the bottom of the bottom. I was struggling with my finances. Like I was balancing between being an entrepreneur and also being an artist, and was just I was not in a good place. And so I was ready to do anything that it took for me to really experience liberation, so that I could get my business and my life to where I wanted it to be. And when I heard that, I started thinking about, what is it that I could share? What is it that I'm avoiding sharing? And for me, it was around my sexuality. For me, it was around, in my circles where I felt safe offline with my friends and my community, I could share my identity as a gay man. But online, I had never even mentioned that. I never mentioned that part of me. And that's such an integral part of my experience, of my childhood trauma, and the things that I had experienced, and being bold enough and courageous enough to put myself on the line and share that was one of the scariest, but also one of the most liberating experiences of my life. And the very things, that very moment when I began, that very day, I will never forget, when I shared my very first post on social media. It was the platform that I typically gravitate towards is Instagram. So I posted something about a viral tweet that was just viral, of the experience of queer people in our world today. And I posted it, and I shared I didn't think twice about it. I just wanted to just get it out. And I realized that there is an interesting line, right? Sometimes you're now knowing and having this awareness of posting vulnerably and sharing authentically, you can get into a slippery place where you're potentially posting for the feedback and the validation. But I realized that it can't be about that. It can't be about that. It has to be about you freeing yourself through what you're sharing and impacting whoever it is that needs to hear what you have to share. Because the mission has to be greater than whatever it is that is you're wanting to keep back. And it's all about, in the end of the day, it's all about service. So it's never really about me, it's about them. But in order for me to become the leader that I want to be and serve the world in the ways that I feel called to serve, I've got to share that message. And one of my mentors used to say this: your message is in your mess. And y'all, I've known this for a long time. Like, I've known XYZ, I've known the books, but knowing is different from actually just executing and living and doing it and living it. And what my experience has been is that the more that I, from that very moment of sharing my sexuality, my experience, my life as a gay man with my audience, my business has shifted completely to now. That's a new demographic that I've never directly spoken to, that now I am speaking to. And so now I'm doing programming for queer men and women. I'm now really speaking to them in different ways that I've never spoken to them before. And I'm thinking creatively about, my goodness, who else could I serve? Who else have I been neglecting that's raising their hands? And, vibrationally, everything is vibration. So what you're putting out, you're going to get back. And so that's the message that you're putting out of authenticity. In our world today, we are inundated with a world where people are totally wearing a mask, or people are totally guarded and protected, where we don't really know who people truly are. And so in today's world, as a business owner, if you're consuming social media and just scrolling through the images and the pictures, you're seeing potentially a lot of maybe fluff, or a lot of maybe substanceless content that doesn't really impact you and speak to you. So if you have the courage and the audacity to step out of the confines of the perfect grid, the perfect images, having it all together, looking good, which I know from Landmark is one of those things that holds people back. The looking good, avoiding looking bad. If you are bold enough to step out of that, so much freedom lies for you on the other end. And again, there's so many of these expressions, your message is in your mess. There's another one by a spiritual teacher that I really admire. In being completely authentic, you're 100% disruptive. And y'all, I've known it and I've spoken it, but never before to this degree. And what I also find is that the more you do it, it's like a muscle. You strengthen that muscle of authenticity and vulnerability, and people trust you more. People lean in. They're like, wow, dang, I want to have what that person has. Wow, I want to be like that. Wow, I see myself in you. Wow, I feel seen, I feel heard, I feel acknowledged. You're a real person. And I know for me and you, Shannon, like, we were in one of our coaching calls, we were told that the more you grow as an entrepreneur and a leader who's, in the world, the more potential separation there could be between you and your audience. And so oftentimes, if you're just showing up as this influencer, exemplary figure who's providing and serving, people might think that you're perfect. People might have all these judgments, might have created all these assumptions about who you are, because we as humans are meaning-making machines, and that's just how we are. We're just going to categorize and make meaning out of anything and everything. And so the more audacious and authentic and vulnerable you allow yourself to be, the more human you are, the more you demonstrate your humanity, and the more freedom you'll experience as a result. And the more freedom you have, the more unstoppable you'll be, and the more limitless you'll be. And it's just exhilarating. So exhilarating. I know I went on a tangent, but I felt there's so much.
It was so good. It was just flowing. It just like continued to flow. And there's so many like golden nuggets in there, so I think that was awesome. And then there's so many like things that are popping up in my brain about certain things that you're sharing. And especially around when we talked about this inside of the group with perfection. And that perfection is essentially us like holding ourselves in handcuffs in a way, because that idea of perfection is essentially something that we have decided that's perfect. Nobody else has said, we expect you to do it this way, especially when it comes to things like social media and the internet. And so then we've basically contained ourselves in a box, but we don't know why that box is there. And we don't really know how to get out of it. But what you're talking about right now is like, no, this is what happens when you get out of the box. It's like freedom and it's liberation. And you get your power back when you speak your honest truth. And when you feel like you can't speak your honest truth, then the power is gone. Then you're consistently being run by the perceived witness on the other side, whoever that is. And it's like, it's such an insane thing. And I think especially right now, like a lot of people are going through this incredible experience with the coronavirus, and a lot of people are going through a lot of pain. Some people are sharing it, some people aren't. A lot of people are having a really great time, but they don't even want to share it because they feel like maybe other people will feel like that isn't something to like blast out loud, you know? So it's just this, it's this wonderful thing. And yeah, we're meaning making machines. And it's like, okay, so if you're someone who has been struggling with that experience of, I don't feel safe to come out of my shell, what would you say are like, I mean, if you were to make steps for this, what would you say that the steps would be to slowly break out?
You know, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I'm so happy that you're asking this, because I think there's two ways to go about this. I think there are potentially even more than just two ways. My whole approach in this work has been very slowly questioning the beliefs, doing the shadow work, seeing whatever the fear is, going to the root of where that has started, and questioning all of it and fully experiencing it through the process of transformation, having an experience of fully feeling what is it, the real fear that I have of putting myself, of sharing whatever it is that I want to share, or being completely comfortable in my skin, whatever the assumptions and judgments are that other people might have about me. So I've begun to, for years, I was doing the work, like actually doing the work of Byron Katie, you know, the questions, interrogating the beliefs, inquiring into them, seeking to become more free. And there have been moments of that, right? And I've become more free as a result of that, which is great. That's one approach, really doing the shadow work, questioning it, meeting the fears, not avoiding them, meeting them and loving on the fears, whatever they are. The other approach is what I feel has really skyrocketed my own development, was jumping in full force, facing the fear when I have been completely and utterly, totally fearful and just felt not ready to do so. And so there's this more graceful, elegant way of going about it, I think. And then there's this like very radical, like masculine, let's like dive off the cliff and face it and experience and see as a scientist and an investigator what might happen. And I love both. And I think I've needed both in my journey, but I've never experienced the kind of liberation that I've experienced just diving in. And I would never have just done that if it wasn't for being surrounded by an abundance conscious community of other leaders that I felt seen and heard and supported by to do so. If it was just up to me, I don't know if I would have been able to do that. And also a leader and a mentor, somebody who's living and breathing by it, who can call you out on it. So I think it's so important to have maybe an accountability buddy just for this topic. An accountability buddy on authenticity. How vulnerable are you being? How authentic are you being? Maybe a daily questionnaire, a reflection, weekly reflection question, because I know that we can open it up in the same way that you can open it up. Life happens and you can contract, you can go in and out. And so much of the spiritual process is one of remembering to be authentic and vulnerable, but also the spiritual process is one of forgetting to be whatever it is, that remembering and forgetting. We awaken, then we fall asleep. So right now I feel like I'm awakened to this, but I know I'm human and I'm imperfect and I know that I'm going to fall. So who's going to be there to catch me when I fall? I'll hopefully be there, but I'm going to give myself every fighting chance and surround myself by,
I can still hear you.
My whole screen just like went
Oh,
away.
okay. Ah, okay.
Yeah. So I know that it's easier, it's more powerful when you're surrounded by people that are really holding you in this space. I think for some people, being authentic and vulnerable is just something that they've grown up with. And that's maybe they were conditioned in their home environment, in a family where this was totally accepted and totally just praised. And that was really something that they've fostered in themselves. For me, my family, my story has been one of immigrants coming from another country, and a lot of hush hush things, like stories and things that we don't talk about. We just never talked about these things. We don't share our trauma. We don't share our wounds. We don't share the things that have held us back. And I've always thought that if I was more mysterious, if I didn't share, if I didn't speak, I'd be more safe. No one could hurt me. No one could hurt me. But as I've delved into myself as a leader and as a coach, I've realized that I'm doing the world a disservice if I don't bring myself, my complete self, and share those things, those wounds and those stories that have deeply impacted me. And I love bringing things into the spiritual context of life. And as I deepen in the truth that my soul can never be harmed, and I know that I'm safe wherever I go. And so I just bring myself back to that. I re-ground myself, recenter myself on the earth. I think about, what is it that I'm here to give? What is it here that what is the message that I'm here to provide? Who is it that I want to touch today? Who is it that I want to positively impact today? And from that place, I come from inspiration and not fear. And when I come from that place of fear or scarcity, then I contract. And then I'm not being my authentic self. But if I come from a place of inspiration, I know that whatever it is that I have to share, as long as it's coming from my authentic self, then it's going to just have ripple effects that are unprecedented, that I have no idea, oh my goodness, no idea who's going to reach it. Like, I have no idea who's going to watch this. I have no idea, But whenever I've journeyed into that, in the words of Brene Brown, journeyed into the wilderness, what is it? Braving the wilderness? Woo! Oh my goodness. And so few people are doing it. So if you are audacious and courageous enough to do it and to go there, a world of opportunities and possibilities awaits you. That has been my genuine, oh my goodness, experience of this life. Okay, everything that I have avoided doing online, such as dancing, singing, twerking. I love to twerk, y'all. I love to just like, woo, woo. I grew up in a theater major. I was an arts kid. I was also political science. I've got both of the worlds. And I always thought that as I continued going into adult life, I've got to be more together. I've got to have it together. I've got to be presentable. I've got to look like I've got it together, or else people won't take me seriously. But you know what? I serve a woman, one of my clients. She just hit $1 million in her company. She's 30 years old, and she when she speaks, she says bruh, like bruh. She just keeps it real. She just keeps it real to who she is. She's not trying to be anybody else. She's not trying to impress anybody. She's walking about the world knowing that she doesn't need anything from anybody. And once you come from that place of questioning the idea that you have to be liked, questioning that you need anything from anybody, and coming to that, again, fundamental truth that all of your fundamental human needs are all being met right now. From that place of abundance, from that place of just you're being fully sourced and nourished by life, then you don't need anything from anybody. And you can walk into the room and just own. And so much of it has been, for me, just being able to own my story, own my journey, own the things I love about myself, but also own the things I have not liked about myself. So I'll share something, because the topic is authenticity, but 2 years ago, I probably would not have been okay for doing a video like this. Not very long ago, getting on, doing a video of myself, like being a video, a story, or a post on my Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn showing my face and people hearing my voice would have been way too confronting, way too triggering for me. Oh my God, they're gonna find out. They're gonna figure out my biggest secret. They're gonna find out my sexual. They're gonna find out I'm gay. They're gonna tell my parents. They're gonna, my whole world will be ruined. No one will like me. No one will take me seriously. That's the stories that have come out. That's stuff that I've had to just like work through one by one at a time, just like grind through, just work on and just nurture and love. And I've had to love on that part of me. That little boy, that little innocent boy that never felt like he was enough. You know? And he still comes up. It still comes up. It doesn't just, oh my God, automatically all of a sudden just go away. So I think just the continuous work, the continuous self-development, continuous journey of deepening in the compassion that we have for ourselves, compassionate self-forgiveness has been one of the things that I have leaned on and anchored myself on more than anything else in the world, as I've continued stepping out and putting myself on the line where it is terrifying sometimes. You know, it could be scary, but it also could be so liberating and freeing. And I love that. I love that. There's something else I wanted to share. Very recently, I started dancing. I wanted to give my audience, I wanted to share with my people, my community, the things that light me up. And beyond just sharing about how-tos and how to become happier, how to become more successful, how to really tap into your self, I wanted to share people what really lights me up. So dancing is one of those things that just raises my vibration. And every time that I do it, I have this innocent thought that comes into my mind. This is going to be the end of my career. Literally, I say, this is going to finish. This is going to end me. They're not going to want to work with me. They're not going to want to hire me. They're not going to take me seriously. They're not going to recommend me. And every single time that I have done it, that I've allowed myself to just like share that, me just being fully free, it has had effects that I've never imagined in my life. I've never imagined. And every one of those stories or those assumptions or misunderstandings that I have told myself, totally not true. Totally not true. The more authentic I have been online, the more business I have, the more people want to work with me, the more that I feel like I'm having more fun in my life and in my business than I've ever had before. Because I'm sharing those parts that I've not wanted to share before. So it's been so freeing.
Oh my gosh. So good. Just as you're talking, it's like, it's just continuing to build. And what you were just expressing, which I love so much, is that you could identify the thought that was in your head, which that right there, and then speak it out loud. That right there is like the true, what I really kind of resonate with as authenticity, which is like, there was a thought, a belief in my head that it's amazing that if I post this dancing video, it's going to be the end of my career. Like,
absolutely, 100%.
Did you start to pull on that thread and ask yourself where that came from?
Oh, yes. Oh my goodness, yes. And one of the things that I've become really good at is I'm so aware of my patterns. I'm incredibly self-aware now. And so it's the difference between I can do the work and sometimes I'll be in the being. Like I'll question it. I'll tap into where this has come from. I'll get into the mind and the heart. But there's a difference between just doing it and putting it out. Even when you're, what's the expression? Shit, like you're so shit scared or scared out of, I don't know what the expression is, but like whenever you, and you're shitless. Yeah. Is that what the scared shitless? There we go. Yeah. That's the expression. So, there's the dance between that being work, the being and the compassion, forgiveness, the questioning, the mindset, getting out of the mind. But then there's the doing. And I think it requires both in the world of, in this realm of authenticity. And I wanted to share two things. One thing, the more authentic you allow yourself to be online, it's like you're going deeper and deeper. And then it becomes so uncomfortable to not be authentic. It becomes like, it's like so uncomfortable. And that was my experience of like, I was working in the tech space. I was working at an ed tech startup, and I was doing in the 9 to 5, and I loved the work I was doing, but I wanted to be doing this. I wanted to be really supporting people and living in their best lives. And it just got too uncomfortable for me to not be authentic in that space. And so I think that the more work you do on this, the more layers there are to it. You know, like there's like authenticity within the career, then there's authenticity within your like side hustle or passion projects, authenticity with self and relationships. And it's just so much. My experience in this too also has been that the deeper you go into it in one area of your life, it just has a ripple effect into every other area of your life. So then you're showing up so much more authentically and real and and fun, becoming more fun and enjoying life so much more. Something else I wanted to share, but I've lost the thought.
These are amazing. And I saw your dancing video and I was like, yeah, Harry, get it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Man.
What'd you say?
I said, those are high kicks.
Why, thank you. I grew up a martial artist, so I missed it too. So I brought that in. So yeah, my family, Latin from Nicaragua. So we grew up, you know, when I was growing up, just salsa dancing, a lot of just laughter and fun. And I wasn't having fun anymore in my business, and that was just not okay. It gets to be fun. You get to have fun in this life. You get to have fun and find if the fun has gone. And I know that there's a lot of potential high performers, maybe even perfectionists that are watching and tuning in. So just find moments. I think a tangible thing that I could bring in here for how do I, okay, now I know this, but how do I go about starting this, right? I think just micro moments of authenticity in conversations, in spaces where you might be, maybe on social media. You don't have to completely, if you feel so inclined, you feel like inspired after this and fired up to just like dive in and just like, whoa, here I am, awaken to the humanity that you are, the amazing being that you are. Go for it. Let's see what happens. DM us, let us know how it goes, and let us know how it went. I'm so curious to know how that went. But if you want to just like, you want to start small and then build into it, if that feels safer, and I love that. I needed that too when I first started in this journey. I needed to tiptoe first to feel like, is this safe? Is this good? Is this safe? Because we're just wanting safety and survival with all of this, right? Mm-hmm. Begin to insert and sprinkle micro moments of authenticity into your life. In conversations with a friend, could you share something that's not going so well? Could you share something that maybe you haven't allowed yourself to share before, that you've been thinking about, that you think maybe could bring you and that person together on a deeper level? Because authenticity will bring y'all together like never before. Like, whoa, it's going to deepen your relationships. It's going to make you a better parent, a better friend, a better mother, a better daughter, better sister, better everything, in my opinion. And let it be uncomfortable. Let it be whatever it is that you're going to sprinkle, those micro moments of truth. Let's call them micro moments of radical, inconvenient truth. Let it be uncomfortable. And as a scientist in your own body, just witness what's coming up for you in your body. And remember that everything that's coming up for you, it's just energy that's looking to be met. It's just energy that's looking to be met. So just drop in when you do it. And one way of dropping in is just breathing in deeply for 90 seconds. And then it'll just, the thoughts will begin to dissipate, because it's just energy, and they're just thoughts, and they're just innocent, and they're just wanting to keep you safe. And they think that they want the best for you, but they're really just keeping you small and holding you back from tapping into, stepping into who you really truly are and your capacity in the world. So let's do this for you in the name of experiencing the full range of human emotion that you can possibly experience in this life. So we can just collectively breathe in. So breathe in. And out. and you get to step into it in a moment. It doesn't have to take 5 years. It doesn't have to take 5 months. It doesn't have to take 10 days or 10 hours. You can step into it right now and choose it. And if you want it, it's here and it's available for you if you want it. What will you choose? Are you wanting to stay in the same space, in the same headspace? Are you willing to reinvent yourself? In the name of reinventing yourself, which is what I want for you, why not give it a try and test it for the next 24 to 48 hours? What would it be like to post something on your social media that is a little different and a little audacious and a little disruptive? What would it be like to share with your audience, if you are an entrepreneur, something that you've never allowed them to see before? I promise you and guarantee you that they will love it. And most importantly, beyond what they think, you're going to become more freer as a result. And you're going to walk about the world and give no damn or no fucks about anything. Okay, you're going to hear about things, but you're going to stop caring so much about what they think about you. Because as long as you have you, and as long as you love you and like you, then the rest doesn't matter. You've got you. And you can question any of the stories of I will ever be rejected or abandoned or criticized or judged or any of that stuff. Just question it. And I recommend, if you're somebody who's really in the mind and you're cerebral and your thoughts are just racing all the time, what I recommend is to grab a paper and a pen and just begin to write down what the thoughts are as they're coming up. And the power of that is that once you write them down, they're separate from you. So they're no longer here, they're separate. And once they're away from you, you can begin to take dominion over the thoughts, take dominion over the mind, and take back your power. So today, you take back your power. You take back your agency. You own who you are, you own your story, and you own those things that maybe you don't like about you. But today, you're going to start loving it. We're going to get you on that journey. And it might not be an instant like, oh my God, I'm in love. And trust that the journey, again, remembering and forgetting, you will fall down. But will you pick yourself up? Will you have the courage to love on yourself even in those moments when you're feeling really low? I know you can.
Oh gosh. I'm like fired up right now. I'm like, what am I gonna post? What's gonna disrupt my world?
Yes. Yes.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna think about this for a second. Yeah. Oh, good. Dude, so good. I also love how, and I'm just like saying straight authentically, I love how when you're talking, you're speaking to you, the person, like who is watching. And that's, I was almost like watching as if I was everyone watching.
Yeah.
Well, you get an authenticity badge, and you get an authenticity.
Yeah. Yes, Oprah.
Yeah, it's so good. Like you do have this gift of inspiration, which is why I'm so happy that we are talking about this topic.
Yeah. Oh, this is so needed right now.
Yes.
I think people are becoming, remember when I was saying I was getting really sick, it's because I wasn't being authentic.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't being real.
Your voice.
Yeah, my throat chakra was totally blocked because I wasn't speaking the truth. I wasn't establishing boundaries. And there's so much to authenticity too, right? With boundaries and like holding up your whatever, like speaking what doesn't feel good. If somebody did something to you, just like calling them forward lovingly, getting complete with people. I know these are landmark terms, but I think they resonate. They're applicable here.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting authentic in a way. You know, I was just talking to a friend of mine. He's in his 50s and he looks so young. Mm-hmm. He looks so young. He looks like he's like maybe 34, 35. And I would never have thought he was in his 50s. And I asked him, I was like, what did you do? Like, he's like, I just speak the truth. I just keep it real always.
Damn.
I don't let things fester. I don't let things build. I I just let it, I say it how it is in my way, in a loving way, because I just don't see the point of not. I don't see why we should be in the world not being authentic, not being real, and keeping it real in that way. And I love that. And I was a little jealous, actually. And I love my family, but it wasn't always, we were very hush hush. It was that kind of upbringing. And so this has all been learned for me. This has all been learned.
Which is an amazing gift, because when we learn it, then we can end up teaching it.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
If that was always your experience, you wouldn't know how to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think just like deconstructing and just throwing away the rule book. Oh my gosh, we've been told all this time, get it together, get straight A's, be perfect. You have to look so good to get into that university, have the perfect score, perfect this, perfect grid, perfect life, perfect home, perfect everything. You know what really helped, actually? On one of our coaching calls, Shannon and I were asked to, it's so funny because I just caught myself. I'm talking to you, but I'm also talking to whoever is on. On one of our, and if I should share, because it's so powerful. I think the session that we did that one time where we had to share our home space. Remember?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, we literally on a coaching call, Shannon and I, we had no idea what we were about to get ourselves into, but it was so confronting. They, in front of all these like masterful coaches, told us, okay, turn around your screen and show us your bedroom. Show us your kitchen. Show us your home. Show us where you live. Y'all, that was scary. But once you exposed it, sorry, go on.
And then after that, then share with everyone what came up for you. Like, that was really like the power to hear what everyone's self-reflection was, like what they were nervous about sharing.
Oh, I remember, I think I cried. Didn't I cry that day? I cried that day, y'all, because it was, I mean, even that part of me, I realized even what I'm showing right now is very curated, all of us. And it's totally, in a sense, so normal. This is going to be, going broadcasted to the business world. I mean, to the audience community. And it's just easy. It's interesting. It's intriguing to look at as a scientist. Where have we crafted? What have we very strategically, intentionally crafted an image of what we want the world to experience and how we want the world to experience us?
Yes.
Oh,
totally. And even as we're talking about that right now, like I will have this screen, which you said before, as crafting an experience. And then, I take it out. It's like,
oh yes, naked. I love it.
We got a door. We have some books. But you're right. Like, it's a curated experience, which can sometimes be great because it can create a setting and an environment. I usually choose that because there's no distraction and people can focus on whatever it is that the message is. But right now I'm like, fuck, this is about authenticity. We're taking that shit out.
Oh my goodness. And Shannon, I feel like you just stripped off. And it was such a powerful moment when you just did that right now. Oh my goodness. I so acknowledge that. Wow, it's beautiful. Yeah. I didn't even anticipate this coming up at all, but wow, that was, and whoever's watching, I know that they probably leaned in. They're like, dang. So powerful.
Well, it just feels like so appropriate because we're talking about curating an experience. And I do see, I totally love design. I love to arrange things so it's aesthetically pleasing. Like, that just feels good to me to walk in a space, and it's like, there's an energy in objects, right? So there's an energy in how we visually perceive things, if we keep things clean, etc. But there's also an element of where we try to rearrange things because we think that the person that's going to be watching it is going to have a certain opinion about us.
Yeah.
So they're like two different, one of them is for you because you enjoy it, because it's something that makes you feel good. The other one is for whoever you think might be watching like, ooh, let me clean this up real quick. Somebody's coming over.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's such an interesting, like, because it's okay. It's just where the come from is, right? Like what the intention is.
Yeah, I think, and just the awareness to it, the compassionate awareness without judging, with no judgment, and just seeing it as it's happening. Like really just perceiving, what is my behavior? Where is it coming from? Like one thing I did right before our conversation today is I usually work from the office, but today I'm working from home, so I had to elevate my screen. So my laptop is on top of this UPS box.
Perfect.
So to elevate it, to kind of get the eye level, because I know that the eye level is more powerful, but even just that, like I realized that could enhance the conversation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt so good to show that I'm on a UPS box right now.
Right?
So another theme to this is authenticity can feel really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like it could really put you in. You said something the other day to me recently, the quote, authenticity is a validation of your humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like what you just did with the background, it just validated your humanness. She's so human. And right now with what I felt with the UPS box is I felt human again.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? I think when you start, this is perfect for this conversation, because when you start stripping off layers, then you almost want to like keep going. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, this has been on my desk since I think I was 20.
Oh, I love it. Oh my God. If we're going to keep going,
Please.
I have a glass of wine behind here.
Perfect. Are you drinking now?
No, I've just had it here.
Well, it's funny because I had an interview with a therapist yesterday, and we were talking about how some people will be at home and they'll be drinking with no pants on at work, and now they're like going down that road. And I was like, I didn't even think of that. Huh. I could be drinking. Like, who knew?
All the time.
Okay. Okay. Next. I also have this.
Oh, it's so cute.
Obviously, this is my kid side. You go.
I love it. Okay. Oh my God, what do I share next? Let's see. I've got all these candles everywhere. Let's see. I've got the Virgen de Guadalupe, this candle. I'm just like really big on aromas and smells. So I always have these candles going. I just turn them off. And I've got like all these lighters. I look like this pyromaniac because I have Palo Santo. I've got sage. I've got like just always love fragrances in my space. This is so fun.
It's so great because these are the things that if you didn't show me that, I would not know that about you. You know?
Yeah.
And if I didn't show you my little like half naked figurine, you may not know I was into cosplay.
No, not at all. I had no idea.
Right?
No idea.
I don't even think that I've fully admitted it yet, really.
Well, I love that about you. And maybe whatever it was, the reason that you maybe never shared about that, I'm curious, what are some of the reasons why you maybe never have shared it?
I don't know. Well, actually, if I'm being completely honest,
Yeah.
as it's like coming up and I'm looking at this. So I used to trace this when I was a kid.
Oh,
right?
wow.
Like, and then I found the action figure as an adult. I used to trace it as a kid, and I can feel this. This is probably what I designed my physique after.
Ooh.
But the real thing here is that like I am like fascinated with like naked bodies, and this one's hot.
Oh my God, I love it. And what you just shared is so valid. But for me, from my perspective, when I saw it and now hearing you, I'm like, dang, that's so cool. That makes me like you even more.
Which is, it's like you don't necessarily go like, oh, let's just share, how I used to trace pretty much naked figures, and I was like 8. It had like spikes and like it was a cartoon, so I'm sure it was like not super sexual, but it felt pretty sexual even at that age.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I love it. I love it. I don't know if I have anything else that's really interesting.
Well, I think that's the interesting thing is like we sometimes only share things that are interesting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then yeah. So for people who are watching, I don't know if this is still interesting, but regardless, this is like the authentic nature of it.
This is the most interesting part for them. This is the part where they're probably, if they've gotten this far, if they've gotten this far, they're probably, this is probably the most exciting part because this is the stuff that people don't show, don't talk about.
And this is the authentic stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, like the actual action of it.
Yeah. And it took all that stuff that we did in the beginning of this to lead to this.
Mm-hmm.
Or else I don't know if we would have ever started like this.
Right. I think it's so good.
Yeah.
What else do you want to share?
I know.
Like, what else do you want to share? I have a bill in front of me. I've paid it, which is good.
Oh, good.
This is not interesting, but it's something about me. I own a Mini. It's my 3rd one in a row. I'm very loyal to my vehicles and my men.
Oh, okay, good. Good to know.
Yeah, but dude, this is I love the flow of how this has evolved. I think this is so perfect. And
yeah,
for those of you who are watching, who are still with us, I can say just for myself, as we were starting to talk about like, okay, well, let's get rid of the background. And then let's start sharing things that are actually like a part of us. And then as Harry was showing his candles and just the box, all of a sudden, it just feels like everything is on the table. And all of a sudden, it just opens up the conversation. And I bet for those of you who are watching, you can probably see a change in like our mannerisms too.
Oh my goodness, yes.
After that, it just kind of feels like, oh, well, I'll just put my feet up if that's what we're doing. Like,
yeah, it feels liberating.
it's so good. So good. Oh my gosh. I love it.
Yeah, and I even realized in the very beginning, I felt myself fronting. The expression fronting a little bit, like sitting up a little straighter than usual, Yeah, I felt it.
And also my entry is going to be like super fronting, but this is awesome. We'll just see like the opening of authenticity over an hour and 10 minutes. Here we go.
Wow. So powerful. So good. I love this.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay. I'm going to wrap us up because I think this is like a full, complete set.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So for you guys watching, we're so grateful that you stuck around if you are watching to this point. Harry, this was so fun and so awesome. And I'm so glad that we did this.
Me too.
And I can't wait to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience?
I just thank you so much for the opportunity, Shannon. I just really appreciate this. Sometimes we second guess ourselves. Even for this talk, I know that for this conversation, I know that prior to this, I was thinking, will I have anything interesting to share? Will I have it together? Will I give actionable, tangible points for people to walk away with? And that just doesn't seem like it matters anymore. And I think that the whole experience I think for both of us, it's really shifted us, just this conversation. And for people that are experiencing this, I know it will have this very powerful effect as well. And one thing that I've wanted to leave with was authenticity doesn't always have to be so compartmentalized. And that's what I was doing for my life. I was compartmentalizing. Authenticity is going to go in these 2 buckets, and then everywhere else I'm guarded and I can't be myself. So I want to challenge everybody who's here to just play the game, play full out, and bring it everywhere, in every space that you walk into, in every breath that you take, authentic, with every person that you come into contact with. Bring it, share you. It's such a gift. So I leave with that. And if anybody wants to receive any more information from me, you can find me at www.harrylewislopez.com, LOUIS.com. And I'm also on Instagram at theharrylopez. So I spend a lot of time on there. And I have some freebies and stuff on there too, if you're interested.
Beautiful. And we'll also have the links for you below the video when we post it.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, dude, this was so fun. Thank you.
So fun.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you for everyone who's watching. And please get in touch with Harry if you want to join in on this fun, because I feel like so much better. Like I said, my day was just getting better. And this has come full circle. It definitely has.
What a great way to go into the weekend, right?
Exactly. Flying into the weekend.
That's right. I love it.
Okay, thank you, audience. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you next time.
Bye.